Hi, I'm Tara from Wild Bird Farm. I started some hydroponic tulips a couple weeks ago, and it is time to get the water changed. Join me today in doing so. If you missed my first video, I'll put a link here down in the notes. In that video, I got my hydroponic trays loaded with tulip bulbs and also walked through some of the details of what I'll be looking for and doing throughout the growing cycle. So if you're interested in the cycle of growing hydroponics, I'd suggest you go back and watch that one first. Otherwise, let's jump in and get started. Each time I refresh the water in my tulip trays, I also use the fertilizer shown here. It is 15% nitrogen and 19% calcium. And this ratio is a pretty popular and recommended ratio to use when you're doing different kinds of hydroponics. This particular fertilizer is a granular that dissolves in water. It's been working well so far for me. Last year when I did hydroponics, I used a liquid form of this fertilizer. That also worked well. I'm just following the recommended dosage on the package. It is one of those little scoops per gallon of water, and this is just a quick way I use to measure and fill my buckets. It's early January here and it's chilly outside. I have my tulips in a shed a little ways up from my home. So this has been my process. About every 4 to 5 days I've been changing and putting in fresh water. I have a 9 to 5 day job off the farm, so I'm generally doing this at nighttime and in the dark this time of year. I had my older daughter helping me record this video just so I could do it quickly and get out of the cold as soon as I could. I went through more detail of my setup in my first video, but I am using a portable greenhouse that I bought off Amazon to help with the temperature regulation for the tulips. When they are in their 3-week rooting period, they want dark and cool temperatures between 40 and 45 degrees. If you look closely, you might see that a few of the tulips have a little bit of growth coming at the top. We are on day 10 here, so in about 5 or 6 days, they're going to start having some light above. I didn't get a great shot of the roots, but they do have white roots on almost all of the bulbs now, which is going to help them grow properly. And here I am, since they are on prick trays, which again I showed close-ups of in that first video, it's very easy and quick to pick up those trays and dump out the water. These trays are made specifically for hydroponics, and the pins hold the tulip bulbs securely. The water stays relatively clean, but again, it's recommended that you change out the water every 4 to 5 days. Last year when I did this, I carried each of these trays to our bathroom each time I needed to change the water, as I was doing this in an unheated room in our house. But doing it out here, it's really lessened the need for me to make sure I don't get any water on the floor. Being in an unfinished building like this, it's really quick just to pour all of the trays into this 5-gallon bucket and then just empty that bucket on my way out when I'm done. Just a side note, you'll notice that that one tray isn't full. I had pre-chilled these in an extra refrigerator, and while most of the bulbs look great coming out, I did have one variety with a lot of mold, and I had to throw a lot of those bulbs out. So now I have my fresh new water that I'm pouring over the trays. And each of these trays has, I think it's 6 separate compartments. So on this tray that's not full, I don't have to put water in the back ones where there aren't any tulips. And there's a little ledge in there. You want to get the water to sit just below the roots. You don't want the full bottom of the bulb sitting in water. On these particular trays, there is an overflow little cutout hole. So if I would overfill these too much, it would release some of that water. You might have caught a glimpse of a little space heater down on the bottom left corner of this video. I have that in the enclosed greenhouse to regulate the temperature. Right now, this building is not heated, although we will eventually heat it. So for now, I just have that temperature controlled. I have it set at about 43 or 44 degrees, and the heater will kick on when the temperature drops below what I've set it at. Once I've got them filled back up with water, they have to go back in the dark. They have about 5 more days of rooting, and then I will put an LED shop light hanging over this table and have them begin putting on some top growth. I do keep an inexpensive thermometer in here with the high and low just to kind of keep track of what the temperature is. Here's another shot of that small space heater. It's been working really well so far for 2 seasons. I believe I got both that and the temperature gauge, both very inexpensively off of Amazon. So it's going to be a cold 10-day stretch here. We're expected to get some snow. So I'm going to zip this up, and I do want to note that it's best to have some airflow in these tents. So once I take the paper bags off and they're starting to put on top growth, I will put a fan in there for some air circulation. That does it for now. I have a whole lineup of videos coming, so please subscribe so you don't miss any of the fun. Stay warm, everyone. Until next time.